Welcome back to Talk Shop Tuesdays. I am so excited to get this shit back on the road. It has been like 6 months since my last one. I got such great feedback. I was so happy posting it, but I got caught up in this strange thing we like to call life. Anyway, we're back rolling, and I promise to be extremely consistent now that I have Steve by my side. This week's Talk Shop Tuesday was sent in by Matan. So his question had to do with hard money lending. I thought that was a great question considering that's how I got started, and that's the only option a lot of people see fit for the way they can get started. Unlike some other people in real estate, I didn't have anybody to hand me $1 million to get started, or millions of dollars to get started, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to get started. I borrowed hard money from my attorney. Great guy, I'm not going to name drop him so he doesn't get pissed. At 12%, he loaned me $250,000, 12% and 2 points. For those of you that do not know what that means, I will elaborate. And I cash out refinanced on that first property. Until this day, it is bringing in thousands of dollars a month. Anyway, let's get right into it. When you look up hard money, the definition says a hard money loan is a type of loan that is secured by real property. Now, that's 100% correct, but what they failed to elaborate on are the dynamics of what hard money really is. Hard money is risky. It's a good way to get started for some people, but it is definitely not for everybody. If you do not have an appetite for risk, wipe hard money out of your mind. Maybe you could name drop it here and there, but get that shit the fuck out of your head. Hard money, what I borrowed, was at 12% interest, that's 1% a month, and 2 points up front. What that means is that I got hit with 2 points at the closing. So if I borrowed $250,000, I gave away $5,000 at the closing table. That was rolled into what I had to pay out of my pocket. So on my first loan, on my first property, I borrowed 70% loan to cost, LTC, of $250,000. That means I got lent to me on my first property, $250,000 times 70%, $175,000 at 12% interest and $5,000 up front. Now, that's a little crazy. 12% interest is high. It's risky. But what I did on that loan was that on that property is I refinanced out. I'll elaborate on that a little more as this goes on. We got to get into how do you find hard money lenders. I borrowed the money from my attorney. Awesome guy, still partially my attorney on some deals. He does so much business in hard money. That's how I got started, because he believed in me. Most people don't want to lend hard money to kids unless they plan on owning the property. I was 20 years old when I bought my first property. So Larry, it was just like a leap of faith when he lent it to me. Although he got 12% on 2 points. And I'm never going to forget that, Larry. You hear me? I want some money back.
Great guy, I'm not going to name drop him so he doesn't get pissed.
At the end, I refinanced at also a really high interest rate too, but all right, we'll keep going. So you have to find hard money lenders. You could go on Google, like that's number one way to find hard money lenders. Anywhere you look up hard money and you'll find a list of people that are willing to lend. You could call your lawyer, you could go to your local banks, referrals. Tons of people know hard money lenders. Do not get that mixed in with shark lending. Those guys are savages. I don't recommend you borrow from shark lenders ever for anything real estate related, or anything related for that matter. There's much better options out there. Check. Let's go into the terms now. So I elaborated a little on 12 and 2. There's 8 and 2, 9 and 1, 10 and 2. The beginning of that is like 10 and 2. 10% interest over the course of a year, broken down into interest-only monthly installments, and 2 points up front. Sometimes it could be broken up, 1 point in, 1 point out. That means that on $250,000, you pay 1%, $2,500 at the closing, and you pay 1% at the closing on the way out when you buy out the loan somehow if you refinance, or when you sell the property. So $2,500 at the closing, $2,500 when you first buy the property, and 10% over the life of the loan. Let's go into an example of a fix and flip. I'm going to use real examples that I've actually done. So I bought a house for $256,000. You know what? It was $256,500. Now I remember. I borrowed hard money on that property. I think at the time it was 90% loan to cost. This was one of my first properties. I think this was my second property actually. $256,500 times 90% is $230,850. That's what was loaned to me. At the closing table, I had to come up with $25,650 plus closing costs. My closing costs on a typical hard money loan deal now are 5%. I've only done one recently, and I'm about done doing them. But before in the past, it was 7% because I paid 2 points up front. So 7% closing brings us to $43,605 paid up front. Now I split that with somebody. I did that deal with another person, and that brings me to $21,802.50. This is before I got really deep into the financing of real estate and I learned the ins and outs. This was me just taking a fucking dive in. I already did one. Let's do another. There's no stopping me now. I'm not getting a real job. Corporate America can go fuck itself. I'm going to keep building my real estate empire no matter what it takes. So I'm $21,802.50 in, and then I had to pay, between both of us, $80,000 in renovation costs. That brought us to $61,802.50 each. Now, throughout this process, I believe we worked on this for 6 months before renting it out. And then there were a few other things in the interim. It was a pretty confusing deal. A lot of the rent we rolled in from another property and just pushed it into this property and paid off most of it earlier. But long story short, I ended up flipping this property. So I sold this property for $540,000, and I was in with the purchase at $256,500, with renovations for $80,000, with closing costs for $17,955, with holding costs at around $20,000, and with closing costs on the way out for $5,400. I also had a broker on this deal that got paid 5%. 5% of $540,000 is $27,000. And that brings me to my net profit of $213,145. Divide that by 2, and you have a total profit pre-tax of $106,572.50. Now keep in mind, I took hard money and I had to come up with money out of pocket. So that total cost out of my pocket was $61,802. To calculate my return, I divide $61,802 by $106,572.50, and that gives us a profit of 58% net profit, over $100,000. See, that's when leveraging hard money makes total sense. 2 people made $100,000 each on a flip using hard money. It's a lot of money. Now that's a fix and flip example. Next, we're going to go over the BRRRR strategy. Buy, renovate, rent, refinance. I've also taken hard money on this. This is my last hard money loan I have taken, and it was for this purpose. It was only to help somebody, a good friend of mine, to do a deal together and make shit happen. He put up all the money, and I did the work side of things. It was a $200,000 investment out of pocket for him, and we borrowed $222,000 of hard money. I'll break down all the numbers right now. This loan, I got one lender. He was really pursuing me, trying to lend to me. They gave me aggressive terms for a hard money loan. 9.5% interest and 1 point. That's it. Even that, if I went out to the market today, I could get 7% and half a point interest, half a point up front. But I don't borrow hard money anymore. I have so many easier ways to raise money and cheaper ways. My access to capital has grown tremendously stronger over the past few years. And this was just get my feet wet with somebody else, a different lender that has many options, and bring on a new investor, more so a friend and partner to help work on something together and teach them real estate. So anyway, we borrowed $222,000 at 9.5% at one point. The total property cost was $243,500. We put into construction $140,000. It cost $16,000 roughly to hold the property, $16,500 in taxes, $2,200 in insurance. This was also a two-family. What am I missing? Permits, miscellaneous. Permits were around $1,200, and miscellaneous costs were about $2,000. That brings us to a total cost of $421,400. Now, we finished all the work, rented out the whole place. We got $6,000 in monthly rent roll. Multiply that by 12, and you have $72,000 a year in rent roll. Now, of course, that's not what I make. That's the gross rent roll. You deduct all the expenses, and I'm making there around, give or take, $40,000. That's after management fees, miscellaneous, vacancy factor, loss of rents, everything under the sun. I hand this off to a management company, good, reputable management company, actually one that I've been working on over the past few years, that I'm not going to be running the day-to-day fairly soon. Never look at the property again or deal with it, and I have a cash flow positive asset. So it's bringing in $40,000. I'm refinancing the property, and I got a valuation. I just got my appraisal back at $650,000. Now, I'm in, again, let's go over this. I'm in for $421,000. I refinanced for 75% of the new value of the property, which is $650,000. That means that my cash out was $600,000 times 75%, which is $487,500, deducting 5% of the total loan value for closing costs, $24,375, and that gives us $463,125 cashed from the property. Deduct the $421,400 we are in for, and we have a net profit on the property just from the refinance. The property is still mine, keep in mind, of $41,725. Now guys, this is a prime example of not using your own money to buy real estate, creating value through renovations and picking a good asset, renting it out, refinancing all the money out, paid back the hard money lender, paid back the investor. I'm still a partner in it. I own 50%. I didn't put up 1 cent, not even one. Like, I'm $0 in. Divide that by 2, and how much money did I make on the refinance? $20,862.50. I made profit just on the refinance. Now deduct the mortgage from the net operating income, which we just spoke about was $40,000, and we are looking at a net profit of around $12,000 a year. Now, it might not sound like a lot. It's not a lot in my opinion, but it's a good asset added to the portfolio, which cost me $0, kept construction guys busy, providing jobs. It was a great addition, and I'm making $6,000 a year doing nothing. And keep rolling that over and doing another one. Keep in mind, every 5 years you can refinance again. You can refinance 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever you want, but 5 years seems to be like the going rate for refinancing and cashing out a certain amount of money. Regardless, I made $21,000 on the refi. I'm making $6,000 a year, never have to look at the property again, and I always have that investor for another one. Now, let's go over how much the investor made. $20,862 divided by his initial $200,000 investment is 10.4%. He made over 10% on his money in 9 months. That was the total length of this transaction. If you annualize that, we have a total return on investment of 13.9%. So over the course of a year, if this hypothetically was annualized, it would be 13.9% return on his money. Now, hard money is dangerous. Please be careful. You need to understand that these people that loan this money are regularly fucking beasts. They're not scared. They loan money at high interest for short amounts of time, and they take properties from people left and right. There's a lot of good guys out there, like the guys that I try and work with. I scout, I read their reviews, everything. Their default rate isn't high because they work with people. But if you hypothetically cannot refinance or sell the property, they will take it from you and you will lose all the money you've put in. So you have to be careful. Otherwise, if you are trying it out, there's good people that do it as well. They just want to make a good return on their money, and there's a good way for you to make a good return on your money. Don't get poached. Don't take too high interest. Don't listen to this and be like, all right, I'm going to go out and do this tomorrow. Research, please. I bought a ridiculously good deal as my first one. I bought a great deal as my second one, as you guys saw. And the last time I used hard money, I did not over leverage. I borrowed about 50% total of the total cost of the property just so I can use somebody new, a new lender, and use a different investor. So don't over leverage. Stay focused. Enjoy. Try borrow hard money if you can handle it, and if you find the right property, and if you need to. If you go out and borrow money from friends and family, that's another option. But now you know what hard money is all about. I hope you guys learned something, and I will see you all next week.